The numbers and records just keep ticking by for Max Verstappen and Red Bull following his victory at the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix, but they weren't the only driver and team deserving of props, approbation, and high fives in Budapest. Read on as we pick our 5 winners and 5 losers from the Hungaroring.
Winner, Max Verstappen.
We will start with Verstappen, however, who after being frustrated at missing out on pole by 0.003s, cantered to the win on race day by 33.731s. That was the largest winning margin since Lewis Hamilton's 2021 Russian Grand Prix win. But it was also Verstappen's 7th consecutive win, a feat achieved by only 4 other drivers in F1 history: Alberto Ascari, Michael Schumacher, Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel.
Loser, Alpine.
Friday looked mighty for Alpine as the team, fresh from a management restructure, watched Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon take P3 and P5 in free practice 2.
But their optimism took a metaphorical hit when both drivers were eliminated in Q2. Worse was to come though, as Gasly and Ocon were then caught up in an all-too-literal hit,
in the form of a first corner smash in the race where the net effect was to take them both out of the race, the second consecutive double DNF for the squad.
Winner, Red Bull.
Records are there to be broken, and yet the one set by McLaren in 1988, 11 consecutive wins to start a season, had stood the test of time through periods of utter dominance from the likes of Williams, Ferrari, Mercedes, and even Red Bull themselves. But on Sunday, the team underlined their current imperiousness by waltzing through McLaren's 35-year-old record, claiming their 12th straight victory since the start of the year for a watershed F1 moment.
Loser, Zhou Guanyu.
It feels almost cruel to have to put Zhou Guanyu in this section, given the Chinese driver's utter delight at securing a career-best 5th on the grid, a shock result for an Alfa Romeo team who found 2023 hard going. But a poor start dropped him into the jaws of the chasing pack, before dirty air then contributed to him cannonading into the returning Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1, who himself hit Ocon, who himself hit Gasly. Zhou was able to continue but finished well down the order in P16, on a day that promised so much more.
Winner, McLaren. What a run McLaren have been on since first Lando Norris and then Oscar Piastri received a major upgrade package to the car in Austria and Silverstone.
That Norris was annoyed not to take pole position on Saturday at the Hungaroring by just 0.085s mind, shows just how high a level the Briton is operating on at the moment, while his P3 was ably backed up by teammate Piastri's P4 in qualifying. It was the rookie Australian who made the better start come race day, but Norris undercut himself back ahead of his teammate before finishing behind the Red Bull of Max Verstappen and ahead of the Red Bull of Sergio Perez for his second straight P2 finish. Piastri wound up P5, meanwhile, to give himself consecutive top 5 finishes. McLaren's haul of 28 points too shy of their 30 from Silverstone moved them a healthy 40 points clear of Alpine as they consolidated their 5th place in the Constructors.
Loser, Aston Martin. Time was when a double points finish for Aston Martin would have been cause for celebration.
But Fernando Alonso's podium successes earlier in the season, he's still netted the same number as Sergio Perez for the year, with 6, have massively raised the bar for Lawrence Stroll's women and men in green, meaning that P9 and P10 for Alonso and Lance Stroll stands as a relative disappointment. Alonso now hasn't tasted the Ferrari Trento since Canada, 4 races ago, with the Spaniard and Stroll urging Aston Martin to upgrade them back into the fight with the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, and the mightily resurgent McLaren post-haste.
Winner, Lewis Hamilton.
There's an argument that falling from a P1 starting position to P4 represents a bad day at the office for a driver with Lewis Hamilton's lofty expectations of himself, not least at a track that he adores. Yes, a record 9th victory at a single venue didn't come his way on Sunday, as a poor getaway demoted him a handful of places down the order. But a stunner of a lap on Saturday, which Hamilton, smiling shyly, admitted afterwards had been a good one, gave him a landmark 104th pole position, and his first since Jeddah 2021,
extending that record while setting a new benchmark of 9 pole positions at a single venue.
Loser, Haas. Nico Hülkenberg continues to extract excellent one-lap pace from the Haas VF23. But his Q3 appearance and new bleach blonde hairdo were 2 of the few bright points for Haas this weekend, as the team's struggles for race pace continue. On the other side of the garage, Kevin Magnussen admitted he never really got comfortable across the 3 days of action in Hungary, as he finished last of the runners on race day. It wasn't all bad though, as he at least had one new fan cheering him on, with Kevin and wife Louise welcoming Agnes Magnussen into the world ahead of the race.
Winner, Daniel Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo has been a winner since the Tuesday before last, acing a Red Bull test at Silverstone sufficiently to earn a place back on the grid, in the place of NYCK de Vries at AlphaTauri. Comfortably out-qualifying teammate Yuki Tsunoda on his return was impressive, while on race day, he was able to overcome falling to the back of the field after getting caught up in the Joe/Ocon/Gasly kerfuffle to outrace Tsunoda to boot. Eventually finishing in the P13 position he started in, as Tsunoda took P15, while thanks to Ricciardo, AlphaTauri ended a run of 3 straight double Q1 exits. Loser, George Russell. George Russell couldn't deny that he'd enjoyed his swashbuckling Sunday in Hungary, as he romped through the field to finish P6 on race day, helped by some fantastic attacking moves and benefiting from a Charles Leclerc penalty. He'd had to do that, though, after the Mercedes driver found himself scrapping through traffic in the final moments of Q1, leading to him suffering a shock knockout at the first time of asking and starting to race P18. The big loser, though, was team principal Toto Wolff's long-suffering desk in the Mercedes garage, which took yet another frustrated pounding from the Austrian's fist. Wolff's mood at least alleviated by Hamilton's pole position 40-odd minutes later.